Well, welcome back to the Steve Robb Show. Today we're going to do some building, and I got myself a 3/4 inch hunk of pine here. This was just shelving that I got. It's an old piece, and I'm going to turn it into something new. So, and I got a whole bunch of these. You guys can see this big stack here. Guys, when I built my first custom outhouse up at the camp, I bought a lot of this, and it come in 8-foot lengths, and it's just pine veneer tongue and groove, and I saved a whole bunch of this stuff, and I'm going to incorporate this into the build today. And what are we building today, guys? I picked this up off of Amazon, like a lot of the stuff I buy, and it comes with a nice little cord. This is the first time I'm opening this up too, and this is like some kind of a nice little USB ports there. There's 6 of them, and it's got the plug in the back, so that plug just plugs into it. And I want to mount this on a shelf so I can have all the guys at the camp that come up. There's 4 of us, but we've had times up to 6, and we all charge up our cell phones. And this is a universal part here, and this will charge up 6 cell phones. And I want to have the cell phones all racked up nice so that you can just put your cell phone onto a rack and then plug the end in here, and away you go, and it charges it all up. Now what we have now is I have a power bar on the floor, and we got cords all over the place. So I want to make this, you know, neat and tidy, have a nice little shelf for all of them. So let's see what we can build here. And guys, this is going to be a low cost, low budget, next to nothing build. So let's get to it. Well, let's start right here. The first thing I have to figure out is how long do I want this shelf to be? And I know that my studs are 24-inch on center up at my cabin there. So I'm going to make this from outside stud to outside stud. Guys, 25, 26 inches should be fine. And I have to cut a couple of spots here that are just full of knots. So I'm going to see if I can just get 2 nice hunks out of this. And that'd be a good place to start. Well, I got a great big giant knot here. Let's just cut this knot out, and we'll measure back 26 inches. And we'll knock out 2 of these pieces here. Well, I got the 2 pieces cut here. So I went with 26. You can see knotty pine. Yeah, lots of knots. So I got 26 inches from end to end, and these are 6 inches in width. And I know I do not believe that I will need the full 26 inches to just put 6 cell phones on, but at least we'll have a little more of a shelf on the end. So if one of the fellas that's sleeping on that side of the camp, if he wants to put something else there, well, he's welcome to it, and it's a nice little shelf to have. So let's get on to the next part here, where I have to figure out how to put the pine tongue and groove boards into this, and how I'm going to design this. So let's work on that next. Well, of the whole big stack here, I picked out 4, and what I got to do now is just buzz off. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's an edge here. I'm going to take that off, and you can see the crack there. So I'm going to buzz that off too. And the best way to do this is on the table saw. And I know these are too long for what I'm going to need, but I'll work with the best piece that I have in there. Okay, so let's just measure it up, and you can just freewheel this side right off too. It doesn't got to be perfect. Just got to buzz that off there, and there we go. Okay, so we got a flat edge there. We got a flat edge there. And I'll do 3 more. Let's go over to the bench here and let's take a look how this is going to line up. Okay, so as you can see, I've got 3 slots here, 3 slots here, And I'm not exactly too sure how this is all going to lay out on here. But one thing I did notice is this here, you don't want, like you don't want to have this like right touching the bottom. It'd be hard to put the bottom one in if you're, if you got big hands. So I'll have to elevate that a little up like this. And I did notice, like everything else on the cord here, check out the back of this cord. So really, when you plug this in, you can see how much that sticks out the back. So I don't have much room to have this to go down because the power cord has to attach into the wall at the bottom. I'm going to have to incorporate that in somehow and figure out how am I going to fasten this thing down. Yeah, that's a little bit of a mystery too, because like you can't just bolt this thing down or something. So I'm going to have to figure something out. So I'll bring you back when I'm incorporating the pieces here into the back here. Now I don't think I have to have this that high, the back that high, but we'll see. We'll see what I'm going to do with that. So I'll bring you back when I've got more done, and we'll see how this is all going to go together. Okay, we're on to plan B. I was looking at this little box here, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to mount this like this. I'm going to mount it this way. And I looked up in the rafters, and guys, I have a nice big hunk here of cedar. So I thought, why not? I'll mount it right on like this. And check this out, guys. Like it's almost the exact same width. So I thought, hey, why not? I'll mount it this way. So that way there you can have no problem of, of plugging it in. And so let me get back to you when I got this figured out. I'm going to cut a hunk of this cedar off here, and I'll work on it. Let's get back to it when I have this piece done. Well, here's all the pieces here. Here's that hunk of cedar here. And you can see these ones are all kind of furry still and everything. I'm just going to take my time and sand them down on my belt sander here. It's not the prettiest ways, to do something. I mean, you could use like a hand sander or an oscillating sander, all kinds of different. This here has got a pretty, I think it's like an 80 grit or something. And, yeah, I'm just buzzing this off. This is not going to look pretty, guys. It's going to be functional. It's not pretty. So let's get to it here, and let's just sand these down a bit. It's going to get loud. I think you get the idea. You don't want to be standing there watching me do this. And guys, it'll just smooth these right off nice. And we'll get back to the bench, and I'll show you what I'm going to do next, because I'm going to try something I haven't tried before. So let's see if this works out. Okay, so this is what I got figured out. I guess you really can't see it too good right there. But here's the block, and I figure I'd have it sitting like this, and I'll have my two sides here. And, I'll just have this sitting out like that, just a little bit out, so it's very easy to plug in. And that's what I'll do. And I'll have 3 slots on this side, 3 slots on this side, and I think it's going to work out great. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to mark this all out, and I'm going to get my router. Now, this is around 5/16. And I'm going to get my router, and I'm going to route out the side here and the top. And I think I'll be able to just slide these things right in. So let's get to that, and I think it's going to work out fine. I'll see if I got a bit, a 5/16 router bit that I can router this out with. Because how else would you fasten this down? So all I'm thinking is just routering out some slots, and then just stabbing these right in there with some glue and just letting them sit, and that's it. So let's see how far we get here, and I'll show you the setup before I start routering. Okay, so I got the workpiece all set up here, and I've got it clamped down on my table saw. And I don't have a 5/16, but I will make this fit. This is a 1/4 inch right here, and I figure 1/4 inch depth. And from one side, from the far side of the bit to the outside edge is 1 7/8. So I've made up a little bit of a jig here. I'll show you how this works. I'm only going to show you on one, and I'll do them all, and you'll get a good idea of what I got planned here. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got just a straight edge here, and the outside edge is just going to rub along there, and it's going to cut, you know, my slots. And I put an X on the far side of each one of these slots where I have to go 1 7/8. So let's get to it here, and I'll just show you what I'm going to do. Okay, I'll just show you right here, guys. Like, that's a nice little cut slot going in there, and I think that'll work out fine. And I'll just do all the rest of them, and then we'll come back. Well, I got down to my last piece here, and this is the only one I'm going to show you how I do this, but I've done the other ones, and you could see here I drew the lines on there. This is where I have to cut it down to 1/4 of an inch because it's too big to go in the slots. This is 5/16. I'll show you the little jig that I got set up, and this is the only way that I figured out how to do this over the years. The only safe way, at least as safe as you can get. And how do you actually shave off some like this? So I'll show you how I do it, and you guys take a look and see if you like this idea or not. Well, there we are right there, and as you could see, I just put in a hunk of that leftover pine board I had. I just ran it into the saw at the particular width that I need to go, which is 1/4 inch from the fence there. And yeah, we'll fire up, and that's the only way. Like, if you tried to do that without a piece of backer wood in there, you would probably end up chewing it to pieces and it would spit it out at you. So I'll show you what I got going on here, and we'll start up the saw, and we'll cut this one piece. Well, that's it right there. That's not too hard to do. I got to do a little bit of a sanding. I'll take you over to the workbench here now, and I'll show you exactly what I got going on. Well, here we go here, and as you can see, I got it all just lightly in there, and run into a little bit of a problem. This is a little bit too wide. It kind of jams in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these back in the saw. I got the jig already set up, and I'll just take this piece right down on both sides so that this fits in here. Because right now it's binding, it's a little too tight. So let's do that next. Well, I just went over to the saw and I just ran it through. Guys, it's pretty easy. You could see that there, and it just took it down real nice. Now you have to be careful, you know, when you're running that through there, because it could bind on you and then zoom, that's it. So yeah, you gotta extreme caution doing stuff like that. You gotta have a little bit of experience as well. You don't want to be doing that, you know, without being very careful and taking your time. Because when you're working with wood, you never know, it could bind in there, all kinds of stuff could happen. So, okay, so here we are, and let's just test fit it here. Now the block's not going to be that far in. I'm just showing you, for instance, like it fits nice now. So what I'm planning on doing is having this block come out more like this, and having this sit out here. So I'm going to build a little bit more here, and then I'll bring you back. Well, this is how far I got so far. I put the ends on there just with some screws. That's good enough. And fired some screws in the bottom, and of course one screw popped out. You can see here, but that's underneath. You're not going to see it, and I don't need to put another screw in there. But that's pretty well it so far. And this is the top of her here, and I have to drill a hole going in the bottom there to slide the cord through, and it's a tight fit. So let's drill that hole out, and hopefully this fits. Well, this is the bit I'm going with right here. I like using these. I don't like using the spade bits. They just tear everything up. And you know what? I think I'm hitting a screw. Guys, I hit the screw. I gotta take that screw out. Just in the spot that I need. Isn't that too much, eh? Let's try this again. Okay, I'm through the other side. I can flip it over. Hopefully we can drill the other side through here now. There we go. And I'm going to have to move that screw. Well, here we go here. I got the hole all drilled. I put another screw in there. And you can see where there's not much room for this cord to bend. But I think we're just going to be able to go just about like that there, and that should do it. So I'll bring you back when I have it all done. Now this is upside down, but I just wanted to show it for reference here what it's going to look like, because yeah, I think it'll work out fine. So let's get this all put together, and I'll come back with all the little pieces all inside. And I just got to put a little bit of glue on these, stab them in there, and away we go. Well, she's all done. I got her all finished up. The glue's almost set up from drying. And I'll show you what it looks like, guys. There she is right there. And yeah, the phones would just go in, you know, like this. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. And I'll give you a little bit of a close-up of how I held down the unit itself, because I didn't want to glue it on there or that kind of stuff. So I'll show you what I did. So this is it right here, guys. I just used a couple of them little screw-in plastic clips on both sides. And, you know, that's all you really need right there. And a couple of, you know, pull straps or twist ties or whatever they're called. And this is here. This is it, guys. She's not that pretty or anything else like that. And I just got the cord all tied up underneath because, you know, might as well just tie it up until you need it, because for sure I'm going to snag it on something and just rip it right off. So that's what she looks like inside there from the top. And I think it's pretty good. So what do you guys think? I mean, this took me 2 hours, guys, goofing around out here in the garage. 2 hours, knocked that off. I'm not going to stain it. I'm not going to paint it. I'm not going to do nothing with it. It's going up in the camp, and it's going to get some character. Well, it's going to get dirty. How about that? Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you like this little bit of a project. Come back again. If you haven't seen this channel, you're welcome to subscribe. And let's have some more fun. Cheers.